This podcast is proud to be sponsored by Tuvu. Tuvu connects people, families, and communities on their values based social media platform. There's no ads, no explicit content, just fun. Check it out at tuvu.com. Are you tired of seeing all the decorations and flags celebrating Pride Month? Well, today we'll meet an innovative business owner who has his own answer to the alphabet mafia. He created Heterosexual Awesomeness Month. And yep, you guessed it, his business is booming. We're going to talk about that next.
You know, I've never really felt comfortable sharing pictures of my kids on social media. Then I found Tuvu, a premium social app with an actual, authentic community. No bots, no one trolling me or my family. Just clean, wholesome content you can trust.
Welcome to the Moms for America podcast. Each week, special guests tackle the issues facing the moms of America today. Discussions include personal stories and advice on how moms can build a strong foundation of faith, family, and freedom in their homes and country. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Debbie Kurlitis, your host. So glad that you're stopping by again today to join us on the podcast. I always do here at the top of the show, want to invite everyone to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Please go ahead and do that. Leave a review if you would also. This helps get our message out across the country. Also invite your mama friends to be a part of Moms for America. If you're not a part of Moms for America, I just want to invite you. It is a free organization. I mean, everything we do here is to help you moms on your journey through motherhood. We are about 500,000 moms strong all across the country. We're 20 years old. We are here supporting moms in their role of motherhood. The greatest job you'll ever do is in your four walls. So we are here reclaiming the culture for truth, family, and freedom. Check us out at momsforamerica.us. Join the movement. We're here for you, moms. Also, if you have an idea or a topic for Moms for America, would you please email me at podcast@momsforamerica.net. I would love to hear from you and hear your suggestions. Well, already on to today's show. Mark Fitzpatrick is the owner of Old State Saloon in Eagle, Idaho. Mark is a Christian who got a little tired of the overemphasis on Pride Month from the LGBTQIA plus group. After all, those who gave up their lives for this country, well, they only get one day, Memorial Day, right? And celebration of the birth of our country, that only gets one day, July 4th. Moms and dads, you get one day. But nope, not in Pride Month. They get a whole month. So Mark had a great idea. His answer to Pride Month, he created Heterosexual Awesomeness Month. And yep, his business is booming and people are absolutely loving it. Well, hey, Mark, welcome to the Moms for America podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, this is going to be a fun discussion because I haven't ever talked to somebody that's really kind of taken such an interesting stand and had such great success with it. So we're going to talk about your saloon, your restaurant, all that fun stuff. But in the beginning, we always like to get to know everybody a little bit. So I hear you're a dad of quite a few children. Tell us about your family out there.
Yeah, we've got my beautiful wife and I have 6 children,
Yay.
5 biological, 1 adopted, and they're all basically in their teens. So it's a lot of fun around our house. We actually really enjoy being parents of teens and everything that comes with it. And my wife is a stay-at-home mom, and she teaches them. We do homeschooling.
Wow, what a great family. I know it's hard to raise teenagers in today's culture, but homeschooling, parents that are involved, teaching them their faith and obviously standing up against the culture, which is what we're going to talk about today. So congratulations to your wife and you for just being parents, which is a great high calling from the Lord. So good for you. Let's talk a little bit about what you did before you moved to Idaho. I heard Idaho is beautiful. I've never been there, but originally you were a police officer in California.
That's correct. Yeah, I always joke around my father was a 40-year police officer in California, and the sons and daughters of police officers usually become one of two things. They usually become police officers or criminals. So I chose the police officer
Well,
route.
that's good.
I'm sort of joking, but yeah, I chose the police officer route and worked for Orange County Police Department for 15 years. And then I learned at a younger age that God wired me to be very entrepreneurial
Mm.
and even to a fault at some points. But that doesn't jive well with government jobs. So I had side businesses going while I was a police officer, and then eventually left police work to full-time work on my businesses.
So you left California. Did you leave there because of their policies? Why'd you make the move? Because California is beautiful, but it is obviously the left of the left progressives of our country. So sad that everyone's rights are being trampled upon there. How did you leave California and why? And why did you pick Idaho?
Well, so one of my businesses totally tanked, and that was in, I think, 17. And so I had to lay off 25 people and kind of get to that point where I was like, oh man, I have to start over something. I have to rebuild something, whether it was that business or another one. And when you're in California, it's almost like they're throwing these huge obstacles at you to make sure that you can't succeed as a business owner.
Right,
Taxes are unbelievable for the individual. They're even more unbelievable for business owners.
right.
And then you get to the point as a business owner where you think to yourself, well, I have to hire all these people and I have to pay them so much more money because they have to pay their taxes, so then you just
Mhm.
feel like you're paying a bunch of money to the government.
Yeah,
And that government in California, if it was doing amazing God honoring things, those taxes may not feel so bad, but instead they're doing evil things.
right,
And it's just something that's sickening when you pay that much in taxes to think that you are helping prop up something that is bringing nothing but evil into the world.
right.
So disgusted with the idea of rebuilding a new company.
Mm.
I was really pleading with my wife to consider moving because I really wanted it to be both of us on the same mindset. And so I started telling her about Idaho because what I wanted was a place where that was business friendly, close to a decent sized city, but not too big. I wanted it to be conservative, red state. I wanted it to have as few laws and regulations as possible.
Mhm.
We do like the four seasons. It's beautiful here. We love mountains. I didn't want to be somewhere where it's muggy or bugs, a lot of bugs flying around. And when you put all those things together, there's actually very few places, in the country that would really kind of jump out there.
Yeah, that's
So
quite a wish list. I mean, what a great promotion for Idaho.
yeah, no, it's a beautiful state. Every day now, it's 6 years later now, and we've moved here, and every day I'm thankful. Seriously, every day thankful to be here.
Oh,
But ultimately, what convinced my wife liked it when we came visited, but she didn't want to move. But what convinced her was we had been praying for 3 months about the idea of moving, and then the church we were at in go attending in California announced that they were going to plant a church in Boise, Idaho area.
oh,
So then
come
we kind of,
on. Yes,
yeah,
that was a done deal then, huh?
it was a done deal at that point. So we were on our way.
Oh, what a great story. What a great backstory. So congratulations. So you moved to Idaho. How do you end up and is it actually a saloon? Is it a restaurant? Tell us about the business and why you chose this business. What's it look like?
So when I first moved here, I started real estate brokerage because I had a lot of real estate history. And a lot of those families and friends of people who were looking to come move here to support the new church that was being built, I helped them buy houses and relocate here. And I gave tours. And we hosted so many families in our house for 2.5 years straight.
Mm.
Our kids would joke around, and when one person left, they'd say, "Who's coming next?" So we were constantly hosting people. And I sold a lot of houses, and we took that money and invested it into some local businesses. And the local businesses, both the saloon and another event center nearby, are, we focus on using them for things that glorify God. And when I bought the other business, I really needed to have a bar that would facilitate the alcohol services at that other business. So that's when I started looking for a bar. I went into this particular one, which is a building built in 1906 and has tons of character. And it's right in the perfect spot of downtown, old town area of Eagle. Went in there and talked to the owner, and it was just the right timing for him. He was ready to sell. And so we made a deal, and it wasn't on the market, but we just talked about it, made a deal, and bought it. Because of its location and everything, for me, it became a quick dream for it to kind of be a place that could be a hub where people can come in and really engage in meaningful conversation, not check your politics and religion at the door like most bars, say you need to do. When we were encouraging people to bring that in and have conversations with real people in a real space, because it just doesn't happen enough anymore in our country. So, one of my dreams would be that this kind of takes off and there's other people inspired around the country to have their business be a place that welcomes and fosters those kinds of conversations.
I love it. It's a bit unusual though to open a bar as a Christian. I mean, not that it's wrong. It's not a judgy thing by any means, but was that unusual? Was that kind of where you were going, or do you just feel like this is just a place that is neutral? And I guess yeah, I was just curious about opening a saloon. It sounds different. You usually don't see Christians opening up saloons. Not that it's bad. I'm just questioning.
No, no, I understand it could be, and it's all about the heart,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
alcohol, and I realize there's some people, they just say alcohol is a sin, period. And that's not, I totally disagree with that. I don't think that's biblical, but we don't need to get in a long conversation about that. But I believe, biblically speaking, alcohol is a gift from God. And when it's enjoyed rightly, the right way, in a responsible way, it's truly a gift and has benefits. And that seems to be indicated, when I read the Bible. Now, at
When
the same
Jesus turned
time,
the water into wine, right?
yes, exactly. First miracle. You also have the what happens when people abuse that gift,
Yeah.
and just like a gift of sexuality and a gift of, let's say, money or income or whatever, people will abuse these gifts and use them in an evil way that does not glorify God. So we have to be careful. So some people will say, "Hey, how you're a Christian and you own a bar, and people come in there and they get drunk, and you're basically creating a place where that happens." And I say, I don't. I think maybe you're just saying this because it's alcohol. Because let's use an example of a church, right? So in a church, people show up, and every Sunday there's people out in the hallways and they gossip because we're sinners. That's what people do.
Mhm.
It's going to happen every Sunday in the hallways of church, but that doesn't mean that you shut the church down because people are going to show up and gossip. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like we can do the best we can to foster a way to enjoy alcohol and the food and the live music and the events that we have,
Sounds great.
including worship events where people come in, they're all worshiping and they're having a glass of wine or a beer. And I know that sounds odd to people, or it could even sound like a problem to people, but we've never had a problem at one of those events. And everybody loves it, and it's a great time, and people meet new people, they have great conversations, and we worship the Lord together. So it's a very unique place. I realize it's kind of bizarre for a bar or saloon. But that's what we decided to do, and
Mhm.
we're committed to God honoring constitutional conservative events. We have biblical citizenship classes on Monday mornings.
I love
Uh,
it.
Sundays, we have somebody teaching from the word, up in front on a mic. So it's a little bit like church in a bar. But I always tell people, hey, if you have a friend that would never go into a church for whatever reason, bring them to the saloon on Sunday morning. Yeah, so it's a different kind of place, and it seems to be something that people are really liking and latching onto. Although, there are plenty of haters on the other side.
Oh, I'm sure, and we're gonna get into that, but I just wanted to ask you that question because I know that you were going to have a good answer. You cannot be passionate about a business and blend your faith with your business and not be passionate about it and have a vision for it. So, thank you for explaining that to us. And, we as the church, we need to be light in this world, and we need to be in all corners and all aspects of business. So, kudos to you for doing something different. And as we know, the scriptures are full of different things that Jesus did all the time. So super, super interesting. I can't wait to come and visit. All right. So let's talk about maybe just your vision and what your plans are now. Do you have some things on the cusp that you wanted to do, some expansion? And then I do want to get into what you're hosting now. So what do you plan? Any more plans for expansion?
Yeah, we have some things that we're going to be working on and announcing. I do feel like everything belongs to the Lord, and I'm just a steward of what He's provided for me. So I look at this situation, and Old State Saloon has become a pretty famous name now, all of a sudden. And I look at that and say, hey, how can we be a good steward of this, right? So we're going to continue to have the events that we have. Many of them are events where we have speakers in front of a live audience, and we're going to take those and we're going to continue to broadcast those live
Oh,
online. And I think it's going to give an audience to some ideas that are, let's say, God honoring, truth seeking, um, political, that people wouldn't otherwise listen to, because it's just, again, it's a unique thing that is coming from a saloon, that people are showing up at the saloon. There's a live audience there
yeah.
watching, and we're going to do that. So we will be focusing on that. So there's things that are physical in the bar that we're going to be, working on and doing, and we're going to be building a kitchen in the back. They have a whole plan for that and some expansion of some dining rooms and things like that. It's really going to turn into more of a restaurant than a saloon eventually. But I have to get all that financing in place and everything.
Yeah.
And so we're going to be doing those things physically there, but we're also thinking, how can we take this and virtually make something, that's beneficial to people who are following our brand and waiting for the next thing. So
So super cool. Well, let's talk about what you said. You gotten a little famous now, the saloon, because you decided to do something different in June, which obviously we all know has become this overbearing Pride Month. Messages on every corner, flags, drag queen story hours. I mean, this has become so publicized that you can't even look to the right or to the left or even go shopping in any of your local favorites. So you said, "Hey, you're going to do a special month at the saloon," and this threw you right into the public eye. Tell us why and what you decided to do.
yeah, so all those thoughts that you mentioned are thoughts that I have as June approaches. And I was, in line with the way we are and the way our history has been. This is really not anything that would be surprising that Old State Saloon would do. But, I just thought to myself, how can we, in a positive way, do something different, during that month? And I didn't want to align it with using wording that was the same as somebody else would use, especially, the
Mhm.
word pride. I didn't want that involved in our marketing campaign or whatever you want to call it, our branding for the month. And I saw, I thought, hey, this is truly, if you're going to celebrate heterosexuality, that's an awesome thing that God did there, is create
Right.
that relationship between a man and woman for procreation, for family. And awesome is just the word. So Heterosexual Awesomeness Month, just it fell into place. And we launched it, ready or not. We weren't quite ready for what happened, but we did it. And I think obviously the world was ready, for Heterosexual Awesomeness Month and for what it means. The goal was to stay positive, right? We
Right.
don't want to. We weren't being like a
Agree.
month of being negative about somebody else. It
Right.
was a month to be positive about that.
And I
Now,
think there is something to that, right? We can be anti something or we can be pro something. And we're pro marriage, we're pro family, traditional family values. And you know what? That needs some awareness. I mean, we did a whole campaign with Moms for America this month as well, celebrating and honoring marriage and the identity of male and female. So you kick this off, Awesomeness Month. And how do you do that? What do you do? Different days for different um, titles? How did this go?
yeah, so we've done Mondays, heterosexual male Mondays, and that's beers for breeders. We have a t-shirt for that one. But that was if you're a heterosexual male on Mondays, just walk in and you get a free beer for walking in. And so that was cool. And then, or has been cool. And we on Wednesdays have been doing the duo deal for Wednesdays. And that's if you are a heterosexual couple, you get 15% off your meal or your bill at the end total. And then on Thursdays, her heterosexual happy hour, which heterosexual females get happy hour pricing all day long, not just during happy.
Oh, it really does make you giggle. What have your customer how's the customer's response been? They showing up in droves, I hear.
Showing up in droves, yeah. I mean, our sales are most of the time they're 3 to 4 times like what the normal sales are. And so we've had quite a lot of challenges to increase our
Yeah,
production and get a little bit more staff in quickly and accommodate for everybody. Our food, we focus on local healthy food. I'm very much against the poisonous national supply chain and the government wanting to get their hands on our food
absolutely.
and alter it with just unnatural things.
Mhm.
So we try to focus a lot on local food and have no dyes and we don't use seed oils and all that. And it's so that what that does is, my point is that makes it harder when all
Sure.
of a sudden we do 4 times the amount of food.
Right.
Yeah, because it's we're not just cutting open frozen bags of food and heating it up.
Right.
So
Wow, so great menu too, and I love that. Yeah, we've done a lot with the Eats Act and all of that too, bioengineered food, all that stuff. Because that's a mom issue too. Clearly, all of these. We say this to everyone. All issues are mom issues because we decide what our family eats, to what our family wears, to watch, where we put our money, what we teach our children. Obviously, you know that you have 6 kids and your wife's homeschooling, so it was a challenge, and from what I understand, just a lot of people were donating, buying rounds. What were some of the fun things that people were, I guess, showing up? Or how did they support you if they couldn't make it there?
yeah, what people have been enjoying, on those nights, I'll pull out some snail mail that we're actually getting, and I'll read it to everybody. And these are letters from people across the country, and a lot of them are putting in a $20 bill or a check for $100, and they will say, I'd like to buy 2 drinks for, the next 2 veterans that order, or
Mm,
I'd like to buy, the meal for a young heterosexual couple that's there. So we apply those, and usually when I read them off, we find who in the room matches the description of what the person wants to treat somebody to. And they've had a lot of people that have just sent in money for the bar in general, for our expansion and kitchen and things like that, which is just
yeah,
like that's kind of like blow your mind.
blessing. Yeah.
Support people are so generous, and I have nothing to say other than I'm so thankful for that generosity and support.
Yeah, wow. And we all do want to get behind businesses that are constitutional businesses that are faith-based and have family values that you can walk in and be a part of, and you don't have to worry about it. Even just going on a date with someone or your husband or your wife. I mean, so many of these places are just filled with, just with really terrible and confusing things that are just not edifying at all. The fact that you're speaking up so strong, obviously, you are concerned about America, about the gender confusion that is on every piece of paper in each school. We're letting men and women spaces, Title IX. we really do have a crisis regarding gender. So, um, this seems like it's obviously personal to you that you're very concerned about that as a father and as an American.
Well, I'm concerned about truth.
Yeah,
And, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life.
yeah,
And I think there's a lot of deception over our land, and there has been, and it's been growing thicker and thicker, spiritual deception. And I just think a lot of us, when we look back, a decade or 2 decades ago, we realize now that we were being deceived, or we're in the middle of a pretty big deception campaign,
hmm,
and we had no idea. And I
yeah,
think a lot of people right now are figuring that out. And it's like this great revealing of how much deception has been going on through the combining of information being distributed through so many different industries.
yeah,
And it's all of a sudden becoming very like obvious to some people, and those people that are seeing that, they're desperately wanting other people to see it too and come out of the stupor, if you will, of that cloud of deception that's
yeah,
happening. So for me, when you talk about really any issue, I'm a truth seeker, and that's just how God wired me. I'm constantly seeking truth, and truth about gender and those types of things. That's pretty, for me, a black and white thing. And we've got our body parts, and those determine what our sex is. So and that's just going to be, I'm never going to go against what God says, the creator, and what he says in his word.
yeah,
People may not like that, or they may not believe in it, or whatever, but I'm never going to back down from what God says. I could be mistaken about that, or misunderstand something, for sure. I admit that. But as far as like what I believe God is saying in his word, I'm not going to back down from it. I'm at the point where I don't care what the ramifications are of anything. All I want is the truth, and I'm going to move forward. I'm going to identify deception and evil and shine a
mhm,
light on that and expose it.
yeah,
That's actually an interesting thing with all the social media stuff that's
hmm,
going on, and how evil people are. And if you read the social media, our social media, whether it's on Facebook or X or Instagram, if you read the social media, it is so nasty and evil. And for the first few days, I was running around trying to
yeah,
trying to block some of it, and everything. And then I just let it go. And what they're doing is they're really revealing that
railing,
evil.
right,
And so, I of course, like, some of these people actually take a minute and pray for them, because that it's just
right,
so evil. Um, but I think for the people who are reading that and following it, it's to us, it's showing us their cards, and how evil and how much we need to be standing up against that evil. First and foremost, praying for our country and for
right,
evil and to go away, and for us to have the bravery to stand up against it and identify it. So I don't
hmm.
know if that answers your
It
question,
was,
but
and you know what, I was gonna ask you, how do you deal with, the negative, the haters? Because it can't, we obviously get haters too, but, you can't control their message, and you can only control what you believe and what your convictions are, and you're doing such a great job. You're very eloquent on your position, and you can tell that it is birthed, from your faith in God. And I think too, I don't think all the gay people, or the gay, lesbian, I don't think they agree with a lot what's going on with all these drag queens and the grooming and all that stuff. So a lot of this, I'm sure you've even had, gay people support your mission there, because this isn't what, they don't want to see children being groomed. They don't want to see this either. So,
absolutely. We've gotten phone calls, voicemail, emails, and snail mail
mhm,
from LGBT across the country in support of what we're doing,
mhm.
and totally um, just against the extremeness of,
Yes.
you know, these parades and everything, speaking
And the
out against it.
mutilating our children. I mean, right? We're
Right.
having, putting kids on drugs and, cutting off their sexual parts. I mean, this is way beyond anything anybody could ever imagine. So, truth people like yourself in our organization and in the group that's out there. I so applaud you because we should be able to celebrate maleness and female and the beautiful gift of marriage and teaching our children that you were born a boy, you were born a girl, and God divinely spoke you into existence and picked your gender. So thank you for what you're doing out there. And what a step of that was really a big step out. I'm sure you're for a moment everybody was kind of like, okay, this is gonna be something, huh?
Yeah, it's like you just never know when something's gonna do that and take off. I mean, I knew that there would be a reaction to it. Like we have a reaction to, once a quarter we'll do conspiracy theory trivia night where we give away an AR-15 as the prize. And we've had a couple newspapers cover that before. And the bar is always full on those nights of people who are constitutional conservative type of people. We have a blast. We start with the national anthem and everybody stands and sings. It's really a great time. So I knew that it would get some attention, but I had no idea that it would get the amount of attention that it's gotten. And it's a really huge blessing. And I think it's been a good uh, hopefully been a prompt for people to have a good dinner table conversation or a chance to meet with somebody and talk about it and what it means for our country at this point.
Well, just let's give a shameless plug for you. So tell us again, where is it located, the name, if we can support you in any way, because, a lot of people are going to be traveling this summer and into the fall, and they may want to come by and have a drink.
Old State Saloon, 50 East State Street in Eagle, Idaho. Oldstatesaloon.com. We have merch on there for sale, shirts and stickers, and we're adding things, hoodies and etc., tank tops. So you can go there and purchase that. There have been some people who just want to donate money to something. I do personally have a vision of building a community center, event center on a piece of land that we own. And it would seat 600 people for dinner. And we want to use that for events where we have like all of the people running for different offices would come in for debate weekend and we can film it and push it out. And so in those events, and then family dinners, family dinners where the families come and have family style dinner and learn from somebody presenting. So just community events that honor
Oh.
and glorify God. So also, yeah, and I don't know what you can cut this part out if you want, but I'm looking for if somebody wants to finance something like that too. I'm looking for some financing for that, and there's a decent return on investment. So, looking to do with those things and take things to the next level.
Mhm.
There's only so much space we have in the saloon, but I think there's a lot we can do for the community if we're able to build that building.
Amen, brother. And don't you think too, I think there's a hunger that we're seeing right now at this moment in time where people are understanding that America's in jeopardy. We have to stand up. We have to support one another. We have to get our families in order. And most of all, we got to build our homes on the foundation of our faith. So I believe that what you did is it is an answer. And when we provide answers like Moms for America here, there, and everywhere, people are very, very interested in the truth. So congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. It was great to meet you.
Yeah, well, say hello to your wife. Tell her to join Moms for America, and we so appreciate you. And I know we've got a gal from our national team, and she's out there, and she's done some filming and posting, and so we just want to let everybody know about it. Here's the other thing that we always do too: you do something, and inspires another person, right? We really do get stronger when we watch others stand up. So thanks for standing up, Mark.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks again, Mark, for joining us. What a great story. I love it. When people like this stand up, it strengthens everyone else and it makes us all a little bit bolder. And courage, it's contagious. So let's keep spreading the message in all of our communities that God divinely made male and female, and we celebrate that. All right, moms, I do want to remind you here at the end of the show to please sign up for Moms for America. Like I said at the beginning, it's free. There is no charge to be a member. How do you become a member? Very simple. You go to our website, momsforamerica.us, sign up for our newsletter. We send out the podcast every week and a really informative blog. But also, we have great resources, webinars, seminars. We have everything from the kitchen table to Congress. Every issue is a mom issue, and we have it all there at our website. So please join the movement. We are really stronger together, and we're making such a great impact. We're fighting for our kids, and we are fighting for our country. Also, when you stop by our website, you can check out the cottage meetings. That's 12. That's our signature program. It's 12 great lessons that talk about America's heritage and history. Because when we learn things, moms, we teach it to our children in our home. And that's where it all begins, right within our home. So again, please stop by and check out Moms for America every week. I always say this because liberty begins at home. The greatest work you'll ever do is in your four walls. Moms, you are powerful, and you are so special, and you're truly the greatest influence in your kids' lives. So I will see you back here next week for another informative, interesting podcast just for you moms. And as always, let's keep changing our world one home at a time. Talk with you soon.